Talk with Dr. Helene.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Hey Dr. Helene. So obviously by the title of this video, we are going to be talking about all things anesthesiology. I have one of my fantastic classmates here, and so I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Lee. I'm a fourth year right now at Morehouse. I'm originally from Chattanooga, went to University of Georgia for undergrad, and then obviously Morehouse for med school. I just matched into anesthesia at Emory School of Medicine,
yes!
So I'll be alongside Helene.
Alrighty, thank you for that introduction. So the first question I have for you is, why did you decide on medicine?
Yeah, so why medicine to me? I don't have this great story that I'm able to draw from. I never remember a time where I didn't want to do medicine. And in all my interviews, I was just honest about that. I didn't know what kind of medicine, so figuring out doctor. I thought pharmacist at first, maybe nurse, but the more I went along, the more I realized that MD was what I wanted. So.
Nice. You know, everybody thinks that they have to have this like extravagant story of like, you either beat cancer or you had a family member that passed or something, you know, traumatic that happened in your life, or, you know, something like you went on a mission trip and, you know, but it really doesn't always have to be like that. Some people just have that dream and they just go for it, and that's completely fine. So don't feel obligated to have to make up some crazy story in an interview just to showcase that you want to do medicine. Okay, so why did you end up deciding on anesthesiology?
Yeah, so I originally wanted to do surgery for no good reason.
I remember that.
I feel med students come in and want to do surgery just because it's cool. I had no actual reasons for wanting to do it. So when I got to the rotation, I realized this ain't it. And then I sort of pulled from all the things I liked and disliked about all the rotations. So I knew I liked critical care medicine. I liked the OR, but didn't want that life of a surgeon. I liked the interactions before the operating room. I liked it after. I like working with kids, which I can do in anesthesia, so it really just ended up checking every box that I had.
Wow. I like the fact that you mentioned you liked the pre-op kind of before surgery.
Those are some of the most important and intense conversations that I've found throughout school, so yeah, I enjoy it.
Like leaving patients at ease before surgery. Wow, okay. So coming from a med school that does not have an anesthesiology department, how are you able to kind of explore that field and be able to find mentors along the way?
Yeah, and so I think this is probably a lot of your experience as well with emergency medicine. And it was one of the biggest challenges of matching into anesthesia, especially at a top 20 program, is not having a home institution and having the network from an earlier time and really get those networking going in third year. And then at the beginning of fourth year. And you can do it all at the beginning of fourth year. But networking from an earlier time, I met Emory doctors, I'm sure just like you did, and really developed those relationships really early on and developed as many as I could. So Emory helped me a lot. They were very, very, very helpful throughout the entire process. So I was lucky to have an institution that was so close, but it was definitely harder.
So you said that you reached out to mentors kind of during your third year, beginning of fourth year.
Yeah. So
would you find that had any struggles because it was kind of later on, or was it perfectly fine?
It was fine. It was fine. You're able to start rotations fourth year in July, and I did my anesthesia rotation immediately in July. And knew about 2 days into that rotation that this is what I wanted to do. So I found out very early into fourth year, but was able to shadow at the end of third year. And so sort of had an idea that that's what it was going to be.
Okay, what did you use your mentors for?
So letter of recommendation, I got two from two separate anesthesiologists working at the VA during my rotation. And then it was really more about the networking in third year and meeting the people at both Grady, the VA, and Emory University that I think really helped me and sort of pushed me over the edge for matching Emory.
Okay, awesome. So my next question is, did you have any weaknesses in your application when applying to residency? And if so, how are you able to overcome those in your application?
Yeah, so I think I had a few, especially two that came up throughout interviews. One was the fact that I really did pigeonhole myself into surgery from year one. One of my letters of recommendation, all of my research, I was secretary, treasurer, vice president, president of the surgical club. So it was very obvious, and I couldn't just leave those things out because they were important to show that I've been doing things first, second, and third year.
Right.
So explaining the switch from surgery, having that answer down pat really well, explaining why I didn't want to do it without talking about the negatives. Because you never want to talk about the negatives of a different field of medicine. I feel like that always comes across bad. So just sort of why I didn't want to do that, why I switched to anesthesia, the pros of anesthesia without talking about the negatives of surgery. Because you don't want to say, I just don't want the life of a surgeon, because it makes you look like you don't want to work hard. So yeah, that was definitely one, and one that came up in several interviews. My other was that my step 2 wasn't as much of an improvement from step 1 as I would have liked. I got a 236 on step 1 and a 238 on step 2. So while it was a slight improvement, I think generally they like to see a 10-point jump. That didn't come up as often. I think mostly in anesthesia they really care about that step 1. But that was one as well. And then not really a weakness to my application, but sort of a difficult transition of interviewing was that I had a kid at the very beginning of the interview cycle, so that was difficult, but yeah, I was able to overcome those.
So cute, you guys, so adorable. So a lot of people wanting to match into competitive specialties always like to know if research and publications are that important. So what would you say about anesthesiology in that matter?
Yeah, I feel like for anesthesia especially that it's not. It's always a plus, it makes you look better, but certainly not necessary. I didn't have any publications. I had worked on a few research projects between first and second year, but that was really it. And it wasn't brought up really in any interviews.
Okay.
So I totally forgot to ask this question when I was interviewing Lee, but he went ahead and later told me that he applied to 40 programs, interviewed at 12, and ranked 12.
As an anesthesiologist, do you have any future goals that you want to achieve? Any aspirations when you become an attending?
Yeah, so this is another reason why I chose anesthesia. The branches that you can do for fellowship are really anything. If you find out intern year you like clinic, you can do pain medicine and just do predominantly clinic. If you find that you just like general anesthesia, you can do that. You can work with kids in pediatric anesthesia, which has always sort of been my goal. So I want to do pediatric, and another good part is that all our fellowships are 1 year. So I can do a fellowship in pediatric and a fellowship in pain, split my time, or do pediatric pain anesthesia. So there's just so many options, so yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. That's actually really cool. That is definitely really cool. Okay, and then you kind of talked about this a little bit, but what do you see as your day-to-day kind of life when you become an attending? Do you want to work inpatient more, outpatient more? You know, what does that look like for you?
So I'm gonna do pediatric anesthesia. I don't know if I'll do pain or anything like that, but so that'll be all sort of inpatient. You'll know your patients for all of 24 hours and then hopefully never see them again. But those 24 hours are pretty crucial, so it's sort of my day-to-day.
So do you have any general advice that you want to give to people who want to match into anesthesiology?
Yeah, so the interviews are incredibly chill. I went on 12 interviews and I didn't have a single difficult one, all throughout the Southeast and Northeast. I think board scores, step 1 is obviously really important, and then especially for the anesthesia interviews, your hobbies are important. Everyone likes to cook and everyone likes to hike. Those are two things that that everyone likes to do, and you can have one of them on your hobbies, but have something else that's really unique. I had woodworking and I've played piano for 10 or 15 years, so just have something, and just knowing that's what they're going to talk about predominantly.
Yeah, and that's really perfect, because my last question for you was, who are you outside of the white coat? What do you like to do for fun? Yeah. Hobbies, you know, without the white coat. Who is Lee?
So I'll start it off that he is a father now, and husband. I got married first year of med school. I've been able to keep up with all my hobbies. Music is my passion. I play guitar and piano. I love to cook. I love to hike. I do love to do those things. But very outdoorsy and really just a family-centered person.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Lee, for just being on my channel and being able to share your experience in anesthesiology.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions about matching into anesthesia, matching into anesthesia at Emory, matching anesthesia anywhere, please contact me. I would be glad to help.
And I will put all of his information in the description box below. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below with whatever specialties that you want to see in future videos, and I will see you in my next video.